What's up guys, it's Project bringing you a massive info dump I compiled into neatly organized sections of various new details collected from the various videos I've watched from the early testers, Reddit, and Discord. Now, I won't show any footage out of respect to the content creators, of course. Go watch their vids if you want to see examples that go into more detail about certain things, but the benefit of that is that this will largely be a spoiler-free video that points out mostly statistical things about the game and nothing about bosses and such or where to find certain things and stuff like that. So, if you want to go into the test mostly blind or the game mostly blind, but still know about some of the features, well, here is the video to watch. All the footage shown, if shown, will be from the 15-minute gameplay preview from Putout, which if you haven't seen that and want to be pure in the dark, then well, I guess close your eyes and just listen to my voice. Anyways, let's jump right into it. Topic 1, Action Combat. Weapon arts use mana, FP. The blue greatsword thing was a weapon art or weapon skill, and there's a new homing missile type art for weapons as well. These allow melee to go beyond their static range and abilities without the need of worrying about catalysts or talismans. Incantations and magic, however, seem like they're going to be very strong against groups of enemies, which I noticed there was a lot of. Coupled with the fact that you can cast on horseback and just how evasive you are with the horse if playing mostly ranged, then yeah, I don't know. Either pure mage or a Suedo casting build is going to likely be better than pure Unga Bunga melee this time. Perhaps especially so in PvP, where it seems some spells can be held at the player's leisure, meaning it'll be tough to predict when a spell is done or not, or what range an ability will hit you at. For example, here's a scenario. You're a Guts Invader cosplayer with your ultra greatsword, ready to pwn some noobs. You got poise for days, so you're not worried about being staggered. But then you turn a corner and then you're obliterated by the host and his mage buddies in 3 seconds, all using Soul Stream, Dragon Breath, and Falling Meteor. Like, this is a nightmare scenario for melee. But of course, this is mainly a gank thing. Solo versus solo, melee is probably at an advantage, at least against traditional magic. But Pyromancy, or Incantations as they're now grouped in alongside Miracles, perhaps they can still be great for duels, given the Dragonfire spell as well as the Claw spell that I've seen at least. So, potential balancing issues there. I get now why they gave melee that flexibility with the weapon skills, but it may not be enough to keep up with a mage class now. If you want to be a co-op helper or gank squad member, I imagine this is going to be the meta. Because of the way you crouch, you can now teabag or twerk on mofos in multiplayer too, so let the toxicity flow through your veins. Stagger attacks exist and vary depending on, I want to say, the weapon's moveset done to them, with some health threshold maybe too. It's no longer purely if you break their guard, for example. Now think of Neo's stamina break system, this is like that. However, unfortunately, there is no visual to let you know how close you are at staggering them. But once you stagger them, you can usually do a critical hit, just like in Neo. And this is a big one. Power Stance is back, baby! From DS2. This basically gives you a new moveset while using 2 weapons of a similar type. Usually the L1 attacks are changed while the R1 stays default. You don't need additional stats to do it now, however, they just need to be in the same group type. Double Ultra Greatsword is back in business. Regarding the block into counter we've seen from the preview, this is not a weapon skill apparently. It also does not cost FP to use, so tank chads, rise up. All we need is a gun lance-like weapon in the game to truly become a god amongst men. Summons are once per grace visit, so if your summons die, you need to replenish them at a grace, at least in a network test. There may be items to recover summons in the full game, just like you can recover your horse from an item if it dies, which it can. Horsey combat allows you to attack from either side with both a light and heavy attack for each side respectively. Also, you can pick up items from MLP's back. You can also parry enemies on horseback, which fall and allow a repost. The same goes for you though after taking too much key damage. HP. The double jump on horse is really amazing for reaching higher places and even dodging certain attacks like the Wyvern's flame attack. Use that to good use on the horse as you don't really have iframes on it. Attacks now have longer combo chains, so instead of the classic R1 spam where it rotated the same 1 to 2 movements for say a straight sword, now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. until a finisher. So much like it was a problem in Stranger of Paradise that I complained about, it seems like it'll be a problem here, where your opportunities to reach those last animations will just not be available, as an enemy will surely attack before then, thus a block or roll to dodge that attack resets you back to square one. Now what makes the previous note even more worse is that combo chains are gone for the most part for PvP, so the normal guaranteed second hit. In past games, a straight sword, if landed, would mean you could safely pull off a second swing with no consequence. Now, with Elden Ring, that guarantee seems to be gone according to early testers, which in my opinion does equal the footing a bit between fast-hitting weapons and giant Oonga Boonga Braps. I mean, if only one hit is guaranteed, then you rather use the Ultra Greatsword than a dagger now, for example. This also means R1 spammer noobs also lost in power, as you can parry the second attack, or simply dodge after the first hit, or perhaps block the second hit and then counter. So definitely a punishment towards quicker weapons. And then add on top where a player with enough poise can just ignore your first attack anyways, well, it seems one-handed is not in the greatest of spots, unless you maybe power stance, but that forfeits your shield or parry tool. Of course, this is all PvP orientated stuff, so for PvE this stuff is pretty irrelevant, including poise, unfortunately, at least from testers' experience with the test. Jumps apparently have iframes. I'm pretty sure this needs to be changed to not be that way, as what's the point of the jump then? We all thought it was supposed to dodge attacks by jumping over it, but if you can just ghost through attacks, then what is the point of its original function? So that needs to be changed or fixed if it was a bug, in my opinion. Also, jump attacks, the ones where you run and jump, you do have some control to turn around mid-air. Not sure if it's quite 180 degrees to jump over an enemy and still turn around and hit them, but it's definitely more than 90-degree turn mid-air before your attack lands. For network testers this Friday, classes are a bit limited, so you're going to want to choose one carefully to maximize your time with a demo. Example, the Enchanted Knight class is about the only one that gets a catalyst at the start, and most others won't be able to find a catalyst until much later, or even only after beating the demo. Something like the Prophet has access to a great claw spell that most others can't get till you beat the demo, and personally I'm probably going to go with Champion class purely to spam the Dragon Head. But if you want more in-depth look at the options, Fextra did make a good video on each of them that I'll link in the comments. And last thing is, barehanded, right hand gets a 300
This is Sparta!
that can insta-break a normal or smaller shield guard at full stamina, and you have enough time to swap to a weapon to land a critical. So a warning to people that are blocking often, someone could easily just switch to offhand bare fist, kick your teeth in, and then it's goodnight Irene. Next topic, world stuff, all the open world related info. Here we go. There is a day and night cycle, and there's a wait option at a grace, this game's bonfires, that allow you to fast forward time so you can get to specific drops or perhaps even specific enemies or wildlife during specific times of the day. Apparently fast travel can be done anytime you want. No need to head to a specific place in order to warp. So think of Genshin Impact. Any grace you've rested at or a big location you visited, you can go there whenever you want outside of combat. Graces will guide you to the next main location with a general direction light ray near it, so you pretty much will never get lost on the next objective. You can choose scaling of a weapon skill when you attach it via a grace, so you're not gimped by using something outside of your build. In fact, this seems to be the main way to change the scaling of weapons now, rather than at a blacksmith and going different trees that you can't really reverse without some workaround or making multiple weapons. However, some unique weapons have a set weapon skill that you can't exchange out of, I believe. Exploring dungeons and stuff that are off the beaten path will yield some cool uniques or weapon skills, but items are seemingly fixed in the dungeons, so there is no chalice dungeon type stuff so far. Killing many foes or big enemies will gradually restore some Estus as a counterbalance from being away from a grace. This is likely to encourage people to explore more and take on engagements, rather than relying solely on stealth to get by segments for those that find certain areas hard. The game's dark areas seems to be what From's initial plan was for DS2, because here, they are dark, and you need like a torch to see better. So with the newer technology of PS4 and obviously PS5 and PC and stuff, instead of the limited PS3.
And one of the things we thought was critical to that was the graphical improvements for more reality, more realistic expressions of everything you want in the game.
Now they are able to pull it off properly, more so than any other game they made. But there is no swimming. However, horseback can get you over some bodies of water. You can craft arrows and different arrow types, amongst other small buffs and basically optional things that more or less have little impact on your playthrough. Spirits can only be summoned in select locations that feature this icon. That's a little bit of a letdown in my opinion, but it is what it is. Stakes of Marika serves as checkpoints you can spawn at instead of a grace, and usually are additional halfway points between, say, a boss and the last grace you touched. In other words, it's a quality of life feature that makes the game easier. Good for you journalists out there. Some enemies will randomly have glowing eyes that give multiple times the usual of runes they give. It's pretty nice. And there was a lot of bosses in a demo. Most YouTubers did show a lot of them too, so be careful if you're trying to avoid spoilers. Next topic, items. You can auto pick up some items by simply touching it, even more streamlined than Monster Hunter. There's tons of environmental stuff to collect, most of it used for crafting though. Killing bunnies or such isn't going to give you health items, for example, like in say Dragon's Dogma. Weapon skills are found as items, some in chests or after killing a boss. Even the rare scarabs, which are the new crystal lizard equivalent, can drop weapon skills. Sleep arrows are OP apparently, and can even slumber bigger enemies for a free critical hit in a single shot. And you don't need to be stealth to use them. So yeah, pretty broken. If you're gonna go for a Princess Mononoke Ashitaka Hazai build, this is a good time to do so. And last one, rings are no more. Instead we have talismans now, which I'm not sure why they changed that, but yeah, we have 2 slots just like we had 2 rings. Rip Havel's ring though. Next topic is stats. Strength increases equip load now, which is freaking awesome. Dex softens fall damage, it's harder to get knocked off your horse, and it speeds up your magic casting as it did before. We finally know what Arcane does, and it affects luck and certain spells as well as resist, so it has nothing to do with summons at all. Lol. Stamina is infinite when outside of combat, so you're not going to huff and puff trying to explore the world. Not like it would have mattered given you're given a horse to travel around, but it's pretty nice nonetheless, and I suppose it has some use in multiplayer. The mind stat does not upgrade memory slots. Instead, you gain more slots via progress in the game. However, in the network test, I don't think people were able to increase it. This does have the small double edge of meaning some could twink out memory slots while staying low level, thus having more tools to slay underleveled hosts trying to get through the game. As far as scalings for weapons and such, it seems to be very similar to Dark Souls 3, so similar soft caps more than likely at 40. And lastly, durability is pretty much gone, so rip Acid Cloud spammers. And the final topic is multiplayer, which we finally have some news about. There is no Hollow or Ashen-like system in this game. If you want to do multiplayer as a host, you simply pop an item and boom, you've enabled multiplayer. Also, invaders can't invade you till you have a co-op ally summoned. But invaders can teleport near the host's location using a certain item, and you get around a dozen of them each invasion. And the downside is you can also use them to escape from the host or gank as well, to heal up or maybe rebuff, especially given the speed. This is likely to be adjusted, as surely negative feedback will be heard about this, from host players at least, as if they not already had a massive advantage, but as extra, the host will appear as a marker on the compass for you to track down as an invader, but you will not appear on the compass to them. So it helps aid invaders for the fact that it's open world, and gang spanks were a problem in DS3, but again, combined with the finger, it seems it'll make every encounter kinda drawn out and frustrating, I think. So at the least, there should be a cooldown before you can use a finger again. This way you have 1 or 2 chances to escape. Another alternative is to make the animation a lot longer, as it's a bit too quick. And the last change could be them limiting this use to only being available if the host has 2 summons with them. So when it's 3v1, you can activate it. When it's 2v1 or 1v1, you can't. Obviously this helps invaders, but I thought the complaint of invaders to begin with is that they're annoying. And this just seems to be more annoyance. So, I don't know, this is something the community will have to see as a whole. I expect the majority to complain, however, especially when half the animation has hyper armor and the other half has iframes till they disappear. It's a great solution for ganks, I agree, but otherwise seems too overpowered when the host has only one helper and you also have the horde of monsters that await them at your side. But let me know your thoughts on that mechanic in the comments below. Next, there is no health penalties for invaders anymore. However, flasks are halved. There's no horseback in multiplayer, we knew this before. Also, no fast travel in multi either. So honestly, multiplayer actually slows things down a lot if you wanted to explore the map. But the multiplayer summon and invasion items are various fingers, most of the same stuff as previous games. There is a dried finger equivalent called Taunter's Tongue that allows the host to be invaded by 2 people with up to max 1 co-op partner. So with this, you can have 1v2 or 2v2s. The normal co-op summoning item will limit invaders to 1 though, so it's gonna be 3v1. But you can still leave white and red summon signs for both co-op and PvP as well, if you wanted to do, say, 1v1s. And lastly, for co-op, Jolly Cooperation ends after killing a boss, even world bosses such as the Wyvern. So while you may explore the depths of Elden Ring together, soon as you pop that cherry, you poof back to your own world. Which kinda sucks, but yeah. Those are the major things I pulled from watching a lot of stuff. I'll leave links to the people I drew info from in the pinned comment, so you can directly check their videos out. I think most of them did a great job telling their experience to the fanbase, and even some made some entertaining videos as well. But what do you guys think after hearing these tidbits and perhaps watching videos? Did it make you more excited than the preview did, or have your doubts came true? The animations, bro. Let me know in the comments below. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed this format. Network Test for the Masses drops on Friday. And yeah, see you guys at 6 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be doing a Dark Souls 3 stream. You guys seen Dark Souls 3 animations, right? Totally different from Elden Ring. Well, that's what I'm gonna play. The Dark Souls 3 game at 6 a.m. for, let's say, less than 3 hours? Tune in! And if you don't want to miss it, you have to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more Elden Ring epicness.
Holy shit!